I had gotten a new car, and it wasn't like new, it was a newer car. Um, I was working at GTE, I was making good money. I wanted a car with air conditioning because of the baby, and I got a Jetta, which is actually the worst car I've ever owned in my life. Before that, I'd had a couple of Volkswagen Bugs, best cars in the world, loved them to death. I will never own a Jetta, and I will never own a new Bug. They're awful. But anyway, so about a year after we'd been married, I got very, very sick. And I was at work one day, and basically I started throwing up and had to leave work and was having these pains, and I went to the ER, and they tried to tell me it was ulcers. Well, I knew it wasn't an ulcer. After a couple of rounds of this, going to the ER, they finally admitted me and ran some tests, and guess what? Gallstones. So, being that I was the breadwinner for the family, I had a choice. I could either go with the traditional surgery, which would be a minimum 6 weeks heal time, or I could go with laparoscopic surgery, which would be 2 weeks, but I'd have to have what's called an ERCP. That's where they snake a camera and like a laser thing down through your throat, down your digestive tract, because basically what was happening was every time I was having one of these attacks, a stone was getting stuck in my gallbladder duct where the bile is supposed to come out. So, of course, I went with the 2 weeks. I mean, who wouldn't? I had to. I had a family I was supporting, right? So I went and did the ERCP. They told me there was a 10% chance that from the ERCP I could get pancreatitis. I got pancreatitis. I was in the hospital for 7 days on my back, nothing by mouth, just IVs and Demerol. I thought I was going to die. I actually had a priest called in to give me the last rites. I was raised Catholic. I like to think I've gotten over that mostly, but I actually got the last rites because I really thought I was going to die. I didn't, obviously. Then they had to wait a while for the swelling and stuff to go down before they could actually take my gallbladder out, and then I started passing stones continuously, and they had to do emergency surgery and get it out. Okay. So I recovered from that, went back to work, and then 3 months after that, I'm still having issues, and it got to the point where I could only eat a couple of mouthfuls of something before I'd be full. And if I ate more, I'd either throw up or just have horrible diarrhea. I mean, it was awful. And I complained about it, went to the gastroenterologist. He wasn't sure what was going on, sent me for a CAT scan, and found out I had what's called a pseudocyst on the outside of my pancreas that was the size of a grapefruit. The reason I was getting so sick is because it was pressing against my intestines and my stomach. So, the guys over at Carbondale decided, oh, we can handle this, and they took me in, and with only a local, mind you, shoved a huge ass needle into this thing on my pancreas while I'm in a CAT scan machine. and withdrew fluid off of it, drained it totally, and said, there, you should be fine. And of course, 3 days later, it was full again. I had to go to St. Louis up to Barnes Jewish, and they put a tube in me, which actually, it's kind of funny because after the procedure at Carbondale, I was so scared of getting the tube put in that they gave me like 2 doses of Versed, and I was still awake when they put the tube in, when they surgically inserted a tube into this thing on my pancreas. Basically, it was like a giant blister filled with pancreatic fluid. And then I freaked out when he said, okay, we're done. And I'm like, we are? He said, yeah, I put the tube in and everything. You're good. He said, you want to see? And I said, yeah. And he kind of held me up so I could look down and see. And I saw the tube was in, out. I was just gone. Toast. I had to go up every 2 weeks to get a scan done, and I had to have that tube in for 3 months, attached to a bag that I had to safety pin to my underwear and empty periodically, that was draining pancreatic fluid off this thing. I've smelled some disgusting things in my time. Pancreatic fluid is vile. It is so disgusting. It's nasty. It's like basically kind of raw digestive juices. It's the funk is unbelievable. Oh God.